Hey everybody, this is Matt from the future. As a warning for this episode and the next one, it may sound a little bit low energy due to our late recording session and late recording day. I apologize if it sounds that way. I try my best when editing it to see what I can take out and remove that won't compromise the episode itself. So if it sounds that way, low energy, I do apologize. Other than that, I do hope you enjoy the episodes. And now we head off to the episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Noob Guiding Noob.
We're back.
Once again. With more Mass Effect. Probably my last episode of Mass Effect. Might do one more with some of the, not subspecies, the little side species, the ones that don't have a ton of lore, but they're still a thing. I might do some stuff with some organizational stuff and whatnot, but this also could just be my last Mass Effect episode.
Just keep going.
And then, sorry, you had me scared for
Gain was all the way up.
You're like, oh.
Gain was all the way instead of at the somewhat low. So, I mean, that could have helped. Maybe it probably is going to pick up some.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least it'll pick up me.
Yeah,
Better than
it'll pick up
one.
some background stuff, but...
Yeah. But today, we will be covering the Asari. And I will give a spoiler warning before we get to it, but we will also be covering the Protheans and the Reapers and their origins and such. Yay. The big baddies. But this will probably be... I hate that, I know what I'm planning for my next episode if I'm not doing more Mass Effect. Yeah. And I keep forgetting it. I literally just, I come up with it. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that'll be really good. And then I forget. And I'm like, what was I thinking about? And I think about it a couple hours trying to figure it out. Finally figure it out. Immediately forgetting it.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to do once I'm tired of Elder Scrolls stuff.
I could probably do Dead Space or something. Maybe that's what I was going to do.
Maybe.
Because I was actually watching some lore videos for that, but today...
World of Warcraft.
Wouldn't you be more...
I don't give a shit about any of it.
That's fair. I played the OG Warcraft 2 and 3, really hardcore.
Ew.
My dad was a fan of the real-time strategy games back in the day.
Yeah. I did Warcraft 3.
When World of Warcraft came out, my uncle pre-ordered that.
Yeah.
My dad really wanted to, but he wasn't sure he had enough money for a subscription-based game. Yeah. He wanted to play that. Yeah. And then whenever he actually played on my uncle's account, he got killed in open world PvP and was like, I'm never touching this again.
Yeah, it's very difficult to not pick a PvP realm. Yeah, back in the day, obviously, it's very difficult.
I was telling him that too. I'm like, because I was like, hey, we should get back on and try it and do the free to 20 thing or whatever. Yeah. It's like, I'm not touching it again. It's like, Dad, there's so many servers that aren't even PvP. You don't have to worry about that.
You can PvP at your own pace if you choose something that's not a PvP realm.
But he still enjoys going back and playing the original RTSs and stuff. Not even just Warcraft and stuff. I think, or even turn-based strategies. He plays Heroes of Might and Magic a lot. So,
oh, yeah.
Those are pretty fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, back on topic. Back to Mass Effect with the final species of the Council species, the Asari. Mm-hmm. First thing to note, they are all incredibly powerful biotics. As a species, almost all of them have biotic potential. Which is the crazy psychic gravity power things. Yeah. They're not actually psychic, they're gravity control. But the Asari are kind of pseudo-psychic just because they're Asari. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But basically, their entire species is biotically capable, which is incredibly rare. Actually, I think they're the only species where all of them are biotically capable. Normally, biotics in general are incredibly rare. Yeah. Human biotics, less than 1% of 1%. Oh, okay. Might be biotically capable. It's one of those things that when they found out humans could potentially have cool gravity powers, yeah, there were spec ops accidents exposing element 0 to children and stuff to see if they'll develop biotic powers. That's how rare it is. They tried to force it.
Nice.
Yeah, that
sounds safe.
Supposedly that's actually how Caden, one of your human companion who's a biotic, that's supposedly how he got his biotic powers.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he talks about that.
Okay.
But yeah, they are all biotically capable, 100%, and they are all female. They reproduce through something called, well, it's a type of something called parthenogenesis, which I actually went out of my way to look up. It's kind of like a pseudo cloning thing. Some lizard, there's a species of lizard on our planet that does it, and they don't actually take genes from a partner. Normally, parthenogenesis is asexual reproduction.
Yes.
So, like, you know, in Jurassic Park, where they say, like, oh, frogs will change their sex or whatever, and they can do that and they can reproduce. It's kind of like that, but they don't have to change their sex. They just start popping out babies.
Nice.
With the Asari, they connect their nervous system to their partners to kind of read their genetic history, I guess, and they take desirable traits. And what they do is that when they clone themselves, right? That's because that's what parthenogenesis is. They split one set of genes is like just straight up from the mother, and then the father, quote unquote, because they can reproduce with anything they can touch. Basically, actually, touch isn't even actually required. Fun fact.
Damn.
Yeah. But they use that and like the genetic mapping that they kind of figure out when they connect their nervous system to randomize the other set of genes to take desirable qualities and stuff. And it's actually kind of neat because, like, if they reproduce with a Krogan, the Asari child will have certain Krogan traits to include they are more prone to anger and they actually have an urge to headbutt things.
Jesus.
It's actually genetic. So it's a really cool, unique reproduction system, and it allows for an all-female species, which, like, realistically, they kind of did their research to figure out how it would be possible. They came across these lizards that I was talking about, which are also all-female, and I'm pretty sure that they did it just to have the sexy alien. Because every sci-fi, like, thing, setting, whatever, has to have a sexy alien. And I vaguely remember... I'm not sure if this was an exact quote from one of the developers, but basically they came up with the Asari as the answer to Star Trek's Orion species.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
It was literally like, you have the mean alien, which for Star Trek is the Klingons, but for Mass Effect is the Krogan. You have the military-based aliens, which for Star Trek is the Romulans, and for Mass Effect... or, I don't know, maybe the Romulan... No, because the Vulcans would be the Solarians.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know Star Trek.
I would probably do a Star Trek episode, but I don't want to piss people off.
Yeah, that's what people need to know more about is fucking Star Trek now.
I know a decent amount of Star Trek, but not enough to probably do an episode without pissing someone off.
We're not here for factual evidence. We're here for misinformation and speculation of our own opinions.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we exist for. But anyway... So Asari, because they can hook their nervous system up with other species and reproduce that way, they can basically reproduce with any other species in the galaxy.
Okay.
Most other species, all other species do perceive them as female, which is interesting.
Okay.
And they are seen as attractive, which might go into like some kind of, like I mentioned, they may or may not be like pseudo-psychic. Because there's actually a little side thing you can come across in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Basically, a human, a Solarian, and a Turian the human and the Turian take a Solarian work buddy out onto out to a bar for a bachelor party because the Solarian's getting married.
Yeah.
Now for Solarians, this isn't like a huge deal or anything, but humans like, oh come on, it's cultural and it's an excuse to drink, which is why the Turian's coming along.
Yeah, yeah.
But as a bachelor party may do, they get a stripper.
Nice. And
it is an Asari stripper.
Sick.
And throughout the conversation, they all mention that the Asari looks like one of their species. So it's implied that the Asari have some kind of like psychic ability or something to make you perceive them as a female of your species.
What is that called? That's something. It's not like mind.
It's like a suggestion thing.
It's like a perceive. Like you can perceive. Each person perceives something differently.
Oh, okay. God, I know. What
feel
you're
like
talking
I know.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I forget the actual title, but
crap.
Yeah. So it would be kind of cool if like that's how it kind of works.
Yeah, it's not really like them controlling their mind. It's just they have something in their chemistry that makes them able to do it.
It's a.
It could be like a pheromone thing or something.
Something.
Maybe.
But it was kind of a neat thing that, like, they were talking about it, and, like, up to this point, you know, you think that Asari just happened to look human.
Yeah.
Or humanoid, again, because they're supposed to be the sexy aliens, because whatever.
Oh, no, never mind.
What?
Nah, just be like, oh, that's why you see Asari as what they look like. Is because
Potentially, yeah.
Shepard or whoever thinks that's what they are supposed to... Oh.
Kinda. Well, that's what, like, all humans see them like that, is the thing.
That's fucked.
But it's also, apparently, all Solarians see them as, like, blue Solarians.
Blue Solarians,
all Turians see them as
Turians,
blue
Krogans.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Oh, hang on.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, man, potential spam.
Hold on.
That's important.
Okay. Resume.
Sorry. So yeah, no, it's a lot of pretty neat stuff. But this also kind of potentially poses a apocalypse for the galaxy, because they can reproduce with anything. It's possible that they could destroy genetic diversity in the galaxy by reproducing too much with other species. Fun fact.
What?
So, like, basically, if humans all decided to have fun with Asari, there would be no more humans.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
If they only exclusively...
Exactly. Yeah. That would be... That is a potential risk
potential,
factor,
but
quote,
that's unrealistic.
Well, not right away, but the thing is, Asari are the other long-lived species of the galaxy. You know, Krogan can live, like, freaking forever, but they usually die from, like, battle and stuff.
Yeah.
Asari also live freaking forever.
Yeah.
They live for 1,000 years. So one Asari typically outlives whoever they hook up with.
Yes.
But they'll still have a kid or 3 with that person. And then go on to the next one and the next one.
Okay.
So it potentially could add up.
Yeah.
And actually within that 1,000-year lifespan, they kind of grow in 3 stages. Technically 4, because you have like a childhood stage. But once they hit puberty, which is like, I think I was reading was like 34 years or so, they enter the maiden stage of their life. Yep, it's maiden, matron, and matriarch. Those are the 3 stages.
Yep.
The maiden stage, they are actually like instinctively very curious and restless, and they are driven to explore and travel.
Oh, wow.
Like they actually just like, hey, I need to go out there. That there's something out there, I'm gonna go find it.
I want it. Yeah.
Have fun, learn stuff, do whatever. They're known to work as dancers in clubs or mercenaries while they are exploring. Stay in a place for a couple decades, no problem. Go on to the next place. Something to note while I was reading that, though, I actually found something else out. There's a quote from Alec Ryder talking about this, and he notes that Asari dancing is also a biotic enhanced martial art, apparently. And club dancers often, like, run by Asari. Any Asari that owns a club, their dancers often double as bouncers. They pull double duty.
May as well.
Yeah. So I found that to be kind of an interesting
Maybe
little
you have a
fun
species
fact.
that can never have male-looking people.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a thing too. Is Anderson, a little bit sexist apparently, due to human culture, he admits, can't necessarily like. He's never intimidated by Asari, even when he should be.
Yeah.
Because they are all female. Like, he
Anderson.
actively recognizes
is that. The guy from Mass Effect 1?
Yep. You take a ship. He was actually the captain in charge of the Normandy before you started.
No. Keith David.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That's what I thought it was.
He plays a lot of really good roles. Like he has a very distinct voice.
Yeah, so if he tries to play a character that is off, it doesn't feel correct. So,
but you still know it's him. Like it's just
that's the problem.
It hits.
It's how it is if like you see The Rock in a movie. It's not going to be great because it's The Rock. He can only play himself. That's the problem.
That's fair. That's fair. I never really thought about it, but now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, the maiden stage lasts for about 350 years. At which point they kind of transition into the matron stage.
Yep.
Where this is their actual reproductive stage.
Nice.
They're like, all right, we're going to seek partners, meld with them, have kids,
and
raise those kids. But at this stage, they also like actually try to settle down. they try to stay in one place and just raise their kids, basically.
Yep.
And it's not guaranteed, by the way, that like they'll just go from one person to the next. This is actually kind of a not a rumor. It's like a stereotype, I guess, that Asari are very promiscuous. They're not necessarily.
Gotcha.
They might have, like, in their matron stage, yes, some of them can have 50 kids in 350
fucking
years.
if you hook up with somebody who doesn't live for, a human's sake.
An eighth of your lifetime?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to stay by my, like, yes, obviously the kids will grow up and go do their own shit, but it's like, I have...
Exactly.
I have this much time to do whatever.
And that's the thing. Like, some of them might only have 1 or 2 kids during this. Others, might have 50.
God
forbid. They might go from one guy to the next as soon as the kid is grown up. Go to the next guy. Which, more power to them.
Yes.
But after about another 350 years, about 700, they enter the matriarch stage.
Okay.
And at this point, funny enough, more for political reasons than anything else. They typically don't actually like hook up with anyone anymore,
which is fine.
Yeah, but like I actually read it. It's entirely, or not read it. If you talk to an Asari matriarch, she's working at a bar, right?
Yeah. In
Mass Effect 2, she actually says, "Oh, it's 100% for sex appeal, because the other species won't listen to you unless they think they can bang you." That's literally what she says.
For the matriarchs?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they don't hook up, apparently.
Nice.
That's the primary reason.
I guess. But
matriarchs act as wise counselor for their species because they've lived so long. 700 years of experience, right?
Yeah.
And the first half of that was literally just like wandering the galaxy, getting experience, learning things. If you survived to that point, you have a lot to offer your species.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they act as wise counselors. They share their centuries of knowledge and advice, but they are rarely seen outside of Asari space. In fact, in Mass Effect 1, Matriarch Benezia joins up with Saren, and this is like almost unheard of. The matriarchs do not show up unless it's something huge.
Don't you kill her?
Yes.
Cool.
Well, and we'll kind of get into this, she gets indoctrinated and whatnot, so like...
Yeah.
It's not entirely her fault.
You don't have to kill her, right? Or you are forced to? Okay, I didn't remember from when I played.
It was early BioWare, early RPGs where you didn't have that. Well, I can't say that because
no. Even earlier than Mass Effect.
There was way more options.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It started off, you could have so many options in an RPG just crammed into it.
Yeah.
To the point that, like, you couldn't actually do a proper guide or anything. And, like, sometimes people would kill their game long before they ever finished it because they missed one thing or something.
Yeah. And if a lot of those options are just redundant and don't mean anything, then it's just stupid.
As time went on, those decisions kind of got more and more streamlined until we got to Mass Effect, where it was like, all right, this is basically you're basically on a railroad, but you can change the flavor of your railroad.
Yeah. There's no other choice for any games like that, realistically.
But the other thing about Asari matriarchs, going back to that, their biotic power kind of increases as they age, and by this point, they can an Asari matriarch on average can rip apart a tank with her mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There are also 3 different types of Asari.
Sure.
Well,
blue, darker blue, and purple.
You joke, but kind of. So,
the
3 types are the pure blood Asari, which is just an Asari that has mated with another Asari.
Fine.
Typically seen as a negative thing within society, actually.
Well, yeah, because they want to branch out, man.
Literally. They lack genetic diversity. They don't take the positive traits of other species and add them to the Asari. They basically are kind of seen as as that generation of that particular family, whatever, having not contributed to the species.
Nice.
So it's seen as a negative. It's not like a bad thing. They're not like super racist or anything, but it definitely has a stigma to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the, I guess you can say, hybrid or standard Asari, because that's typically what it is, most common, which is an Asari that has mated with another species.
Yep.
And again, very welcome, very culturally, that's what you're supposed to do, because you pull in the genetic diversity and like the genetic heritage of other species.
Mm-hmm.
So it's seen as a very good thing. Again, an Asari that has melded with a Solarian,
yes,
that Asari kid is likely to be more logic driven. Won't necessarily be smarter, but is more likely to be smart for like Asari standard.
Gotcha.
Because they are driven more by logic, because that's how Solarian biology and their genetic heritage is kind of formed. A Krogan, an Asari with a Krogan parent would be more driven to learning combat and fighting and really experiencing that.
Have that drive.
Which again really adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the third type of Asari, which is actually a genetic mutation among the Asari called an Ardak Yakshi. I believe the full phrase or the full translation is Demon of the Night Winds. And they are basically from birth as powerful as a matriarch. And keep in mind, they get stronger as they get older.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's a genetic mutation. I believe it's found mostly among pureblood Asari. I don't have that confirmed, but I think I remember reading that at some point. They kill anyone they meld with that they try to meet. Their nervous system overloads their partner's nervous system and kills them.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. They are incredibly powerful biotics. And unfortunately, the process of melding is highly addictive to them. So every time they kill someone, they want to do it again.
That's great.
It's the secret shame of the Asari, because one Ardak Yakshi on a loose that's let loose can potentially destroy a planet just because they're having fun.
Yeah.
And that's actually the scope of one of the missions for your companions in Mass Effect 2.
Oh, nice.
Is you're tracking down an Ardak Yakshi.
Jesus.
Yeah. I won't give any more spoilers to that, but it's kind of funny. Actually, you can save the Ardak Yakshi, and if you romance her, you die. Game over.
Sick,
she'll give you the option. She'll say, "Are you sure? I might kill you, just saying." And you're like, "Yeah, let's do this." And then
that's the game over. I mean,
that's great.
Yeah, they warned you.
Yeah. So the Asari, they did have they had a couple different religions in their primitive ages. They kind of have grown to they still kind of have religion, but it's more of an informal thing.
Yeah.
But they once worshipped the goddess Athame in their ancient times, which is the goddess of logic, order, culture, unity, just basically everything. It's their version, I guess, of the Abrahamic God.
Oh, okay.
It's a singular God.
Yeah, yeah.
They had prophets and stuff, but Athame was the big thing, the goddess. Okay. They are also, I did double check this.
Yeah.
They are confirmed to be the first species to discover the mass relays. I mean,
it makes the most sense.
Well, I know that I said that the Turians were actually traveling before the Asari were. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
That was incorrect. The Turians did start traveling before the Asari discovered the Citadel, but the Asari were traveling the mass relays first within our cycle.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So they discovered the Citadel. 60 years later, the Solarians actually arrived, and from there they started to form the Galactic Council. They met some other things. The Hanar, the Elcor were a big one, the Volus. And they started building the Krogans eventually, Rachni, and then from the Rachni, the Krogans.
Yep.
And so they started building that Galactic Council. And the Asari's whole thing is they're incredibly diplomatic, and partly due to their age and just how long they can live and how long they can work on things.
Yeah.
They do have intellectual and technological superiority.
Shock.
Additionally, because again, they can live so long, they also have kind of a cultural dominance over the galaxy. Anything that you see has Asari influence in it, on the grounds that they've been around so long, and they're
it's just there.
Yeah, they're so diplomatic that they want to share their culture.
Right.
And they've been around so long, eventually you're going to integrate to it. It's gonna happen. Don't bother resisting.
That doesn't sound good.
I mean,
what the don't bother resisting.
That's actually kind of how they go about things, though. Is yes, they're peaceful, but they will peacefully take over your species.
Okay.
But they do tend towards communal thinking and whatnot, which is why they formed the Galactic Council and said, "Hey, Solarians, why don't we work together?"
Yeah.
And they actually have a true republic, even within their, the sci-fi future, meaning that every Asari gets to participate in politics.
Cool.
From the lowliest, as long as you're an adult, basically,
yeah,
you get to vote on anything and everything. Now, of course, most Asari don't. they go about and do their own thing for a long time.
Right.
The exceptions, of course, being the matriarchs and a few matrons as well. But yeah, they actually have a true republic. Typically, they have no elected officials. You just go to one of the open forums, you argue your case for whatever it is, and some of those arguments can go on for days and days and days until something is kind of decided.
Right.
Matriarchs tend to have more weight, like their words tend to, because again,
obviously,
culturally speaking, they're a big deal, and then also just
they've been around longer,
forever. Yeah, so their wisdom is highly respected. The only elected position that the Asari has is counselor at the Citadel. Their representative for their species is the only thing that they actually elect.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is open forum.
It's just whoever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's likely possible that the reason why they're able to actually keep this true republic is actually partly because of their parthenogenic breeding. Because their whole thing, their drive is to pull traits from another to form the next generation.
Yep.
Basically, they seek to understand each other constantly.
Okay.
So any philosophical debates, any religious debates, like instead of saying, your view of God is wrong, mine is right, and I'm going to kill you over that, they'll say, your view of God is wrong, mine is right, but I want to hear what your view is, and I want to debate and tell you why mine is the right way.
No.
That's how they that is how they do things as a species.
I don't care, that's stupid. That's not correct.
That's not how it's supposed to be done.
That's not how
You're supposed to kill each other.
Yeah. If they can't be swayed from their own opinion of thinking that theirs is right and the other person's is wrong, then that's a waste of fucking time.
They basically continue to try and reach a not reach a compromise, but reach a conclusion that they can both agree on. Because again, that's just kind of how they're formed, how they built. They're built different.
Built differently.
It's weird to think about, right?
That's so dumb, yeah.
But that's also the possible reason why they can have a true republic, despite how massive their species is.
I guess.
Like, if you think about it, just imagine if every human on the planet could argue in anything, in any forum, for as long as they wanted, and nothing would get done for us, because we would just never agree on anything.
No, of course not.
So it was kind of something interesting.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I have about them, really, is that is their military, which are huntresses, or Asari commando. They don't actually have a lot. They don't have a ton of military. They have kind of basically spec ops units, right?
Yeah.
What? I was saying, why are you looking at me like that?
Yeah, no, yeah.
There's not much big on the Asari other than they formed the council, and I guess they're supposed to be wise and
there doesn't
ageless.
Need to be. BioWare's lazy. You can just say that.
Kinda when it comes to the Asari.
I mean, it's not like you need to freaking write a Silmarillion type shit.
Well, look at all the other stuff that we've talked about so far. We got the freaking Geth and the Quarians in the Awakening War or whatever.
The Geth and the Quarians.
We got the Krogan rebellions and the Rachni wars. We got the Turian colonies.
You can boil crap down to be like Turians found humans and they shot at them, so humans shot them back.
But what I'm saying is, so I did boil it down a little bit. With the Asari, I am giving you as much as I physically can find. There's just not much there. They're literally just supposed to be there as the sex symbol of Mass Effect.
Listen, man. So what?
But anyway, so they have the Asari Huntresses, also known as Asari Commandos.
Yep.
Small specialized spec ops units. They do not have a ton of these. They're very few and far between. They're either solo units or, again, an actual company or something, a couple 5-10, that will get together and fuck shit up. Now, when well deployed, they are absolutely devastating. Because again, you're talking something that can, with their mind, produce artillery fire.
Right.
They can produce barriers out of nowhere, and then on top of that, they have several hundred years of weapons training and combat tactics, stealth, technology, hacking, all that stuff.
Okay.
They are insane. The Turians actually say that the Asari have the finest warriors in the galaxy. Luckily, there aren't that many of them. That is actually a Turian military saying.
Nice.
And then they also have the largest ship in the galaxy. It is a massive super dreadnought, the capital ship of the Citadel fleet, the Destiny Ascension. It is, when you first come into Mass Effect, you actually see it. It is so big that the Normandy can just fly into the main gun.
Oh, right,
if it really wants to. It is massive.
Might as well.
So that's pretty much all I have on the Asari, except for what I'm about to go into, which this is where I'm going to go into spoiler warning. If you are interested in playing Mass Effect, particularly Mass Effect 3,
Jerry,
and you have not yet, or anyone else, God forbid someone else finds this.
How the fuck?
But if you haven't played Mass Effect 3, you don't know this stuff, you haven't spoiled it for yourself, and you want to play it without spoilers, this is your chance to close the podcast and go do that. Because we're going to be talking about the Protheans and the Reapers now. Alright, you've gotten your spoiler warning. Here we go. The Protheans, the technology that supposedly everyone is based off of, right? They disappeared 50,000 years ago, and they left behind all their tech, and everyone's like, they basically just salvage that tech, reverse engineer it, and that's how they get FTL travel, that's how they get their guns, that's how they get basically everything. The Protheans themselves were the dominant species of their cycle. They were driven by evolution. I believe it was the cosmic imperative, which is evolutionary superiority. The strong conquer the weak. They were very much like the Roman Empire in that they would conquer other things, vassalize them, take the best parts of their culture and say, all right, that's ours now. And then you all serve us. Eventually you can get citizenships, but you will never be true Prothean.
No.
So that's how they kind of lived. Anytime they run into another species, they give them an option: submit or serve.
That's what the Mongolians did.
Or sorry, submit and serve. Or challenge the Protheans' right to rule, i.e. die fighting. Because the Protheans would absolutely destroy and sterilize an entire species.
That's what technically like Genghis Khan kind of did, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like, you're pretty strong. Fight for me or I kill you.
Yeah. You can continue fighting for me, conquer everything, and have a great time,
have a good life doing what you like doing.
You can die here and now, your choice.
I can rip your guts out, dude. So,
but they also were known for uplifting and vassalizing primitive species.
Okay.
Such as, namely, the Asari, the Turians, and the humans. Not the Solarians, though. They actually make a joke about that. The Solarians were so under-evolved, the Protheans thought they were just animals at the time.
Oh.
And they actually used to eat their eggs as a delicacy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Because the Solarians were literally just frogs at the time.
Yeah.
They were just really big frogs. They hyper-evolved it to what we know as Solarians today.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, Javik in Mass Effect 3 makes a comment about that.
Jeez.
They're actually, one of the main members of the Citadel. They used to eat flies. That's all he says.
I mean, hey, it's true.
So they would actually vassalize and uplift primitive species that they found useful. And they experimented on some of them. Which, fun fact, is the reason why every Asari is a biotic. They basically pumped the home planet of Thessia with element 0 until they all gained biotic powers.
Jesus.
Yup. They also created a Thame, the goddess. That was actually made by the Protheans to train and control the Asari.
The hell's the goddess?
I told you earlier, the one goddess the Asari worship, like the goddess of order, goddess of
that one. Okay.
Yeah. That is the one goddess that the Protheans made to like control them through religious worship.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
So it's not even their own thing.
The Protheans are dicks.
Wow. Damn.
But they gave Asari biotic powers through a Thame. They did some things. It's actually funny if you have this was a huge controversy at the time, right? Day 1 DLC was the Prothean, or I can't remember what they called it, but you get Javik, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he actually has story significance in one of the whenever you go to Thessia for a thing, because when you get there, there's statues of Protheans, and if you have Liara, she's like, oh yeah, no, this is a Thame's, so-and-so prophet, her scholar, her whatever, and they're all statues of Protheans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Javik will actually point out, kind of looks a little Prothean, don't it? Yeah, we were planning on enslaving you assholes,
Jesus.
But no, fucking primitives.
Yikes, dude.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
They were kind of dicks.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
Well, what's actually funny is like he actually says straight up is like, oh yeah, no, if you could kill us, we wouldn't care. Like if you wanted to conquer us, we would accept your rule because you have proven you are strong enough to conquer us.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But and people tried, no one succeeded.
Yep.
Fuck you, we're ruling the galaxy. The cosmic imperative, as they called it, like I said earlier.
Yeah, if there's a force out there that can rule over us or crush us,
yeah,
we're all for it.
They would absolutely submit and say, hey, we will be your loyal soldiers at that point.
Yep.
But then the Reapers attacked.
Reapers.
The Reapers are giant machines.
Yep.
As you know, that can conquer the galaxy. Well, they don't conquer. They kind of they harvest it.
They harvest and destroy stuff. Yeah. They don't care about.
They just destroy anything. I'll get to it in a minute, but any civilization that has reached FTL travel, they destroy it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
The issue with the Protheans, more than anything else, like every cycle has their strengths and their weaknesses. With the Prothean Empire, their strength was basically they're just dogmatic military. And their basic caste system, their rigid structure and whatnot.
Okay.
Everything was raw order.
Okay.
At its finest. When the Reapers came, it made them predictable, and they could not easily change their tactics. Their doctrine of war, this is how war is committed. You will do it this way, and if you do it differently, you are wrong, and you will probably be executed for it.
Okay.
When the Reapers came, that didn't work out for them.
Whoa, it didn't work out? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It actually became a massive war of attrition where entire planets of subservient species, the Protheans would just throw at the Reapers, and while they were harvesting that planet, they would go about and try to regroup. And the thing is, this backfired because the Reapers do a funny little thing where they convert organic populations into Reaper stormtroopers.
Yep.
So this really backfired on top of destroying the morale of the subservient species, who then were more easily indoctrinated, because not only like did the Reapers do their thing saying, oogly boop, we are gods, follow us.
Right.
But they're like, oh, the Protheans are also just throwing us at these monsters. We have more of a reason to go to them.
Yeah. If they keep feeding us, man, fuck it.
Yeah, it was not a good time. So the Reapers did their harvest. The Protheans tend to, as kind of a precautionary measure, they actually pulled away from the primitive civilizations. They didn't realize the Reapers actually only went after civilizations that had reached FTL. So basically they saw the humans, the Asari, and the Turians, and they said, all right, you guys can still live. There will still be life in the galaxy, even if we die. And so they pulled out all of their research centers, all of their experimental stations and all that, and just left them behind.
Okay.
And they did actually leave behind specific information for some of these species, namely the humans and the Asari.
Mm-hmm.
With the Asari, they basically left them the blueprints to the galaxy. They were kind of the Protheans' favored primitives.
Yeah.
And so when the Reapers came, they're like, all right, here's all the information you need. You guys will be in charge of the next cycle of life. And the thing is, the Asari never tell anyone about this, and it's the literal reason why their technology is so much more advanced than everyone else, was because they were basically given the keys to the kingdom.
Oh, nice.
It's why they have a cultural dominance so hard.
Yeah.
Humans also actually got basically the same thing, but one, we didn't discover it until much later. We didn't achieve FTL.
Oh yeah, it took us
but there was a research base on Mars. We found it. It was a massive Prothean archive. So massive, we have barely scratched the surface of it by the time we reached the galactic community, and then the Reapers attacked.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically, we, technically speaking, actually, I think humans have more or better tech in their archives than the Asari do. We just didn't get to it first.
We weren't able to get to it, yeah.
Well, the Asari were actually in the process of being indoctrinated, like being pulled into the Empire when the Reapers attacked. Like they were basically like at the point of getting FTL travel.
Yeah.
The Reapers attacked, harvested the galaxy, and left.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got that FTL travel like immediately afterwards.
Gotcha.
A bit exaggerating, but like it was about that.
Right.
So, and Advanced Archives, it was really cool that one was the secret to Asari superiority.
Yep.
And the Protheans and their subservient species that were officially in the Empire were driven to extinction, turned to husks, or they were what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, the indoctrinated ones, indoctrinated slaves.
Yeah,
basically were just left to die. Without Reaper instruction, they basically just stood there and starved to death. Yeah.
Oh, God.
A few exceptions being a few small pockets of scientists and such.
Right.
Namely on, I believe it is... not Vermeer, Ilos. The final mission of Mass Effect. You go to one of these Prothean black sites.
Yes.
The only reason it survived was because it wasn't officially in the records in Citadel space at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an actual black site.
Yeah.
Where they were but like they were performing research that like they didn't want the rest of the galaxy to know about.
Yeah. Always
namely, good. A backdoor to the Citadel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, but that's actually what kind of helped them is once they heard that the Reapers were going on and whatnot, they went dark. Zero communication immediately. And basically said, all right, we're going to finish the project. We're going to go to the Citadel and we're going to change the thing a little bit. And what they did was the Citadel is run by these little organic bugs, the collectors.
Aren't they?
No, the collectors are actually Protheans.
Mm.
So the Protheans, when they're huskified, reapified, whatever, they become collectors.
Gotcha.
And they're actually used as like kind of the vanguard troops for the Reapers for their invasion.
But those bug things that are on the Citadel number 1.
Yeah, what are they called? Keepers, that's what they
Keepers.
are. Yeah. They're basically organic machines.
Yep.
Their entire job is to just maintain the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
And when the signal comes through that the Reapers are attacking, they turn on the Citadel.
Yep.
Normally, it's just a passive, inactive space station. It's welcoming to life. It's habitable. But you can't actually access any of the deep systems or anything. The Keepers won't let you, and it constantly moves, so it's really dangerous to like try and explore.
Yeah.
But it's at the center of the mass relays, and it's pretty cool. If you kill a Keeper, another one just appears. There's always a set amount of Keepers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, their whole purpose is just taking care of the Citadel and eventually activating it.
So in Mass Effect 1, do the Keepers activate the Citadel?
No, they do not, because the Prothean scientists on Ilos teleported to after the Reapers had finished their invasion and gone back to dark space.
Yeah.
They teleported to the Citadel, and basically they found like the vats where the Keepers were made, and they incorporated a change in their DNA so they would ignore the Reaper code. So when the Reapers sent out their signal, turn on the Citadel, we're coming, they ignored it. That's actually the entire plot of Mass Effect 1, is that the reason why Sovereign. Yeah, the reason why Sovereign like has to go to Eden Prime and you fight Saren and all that is because the Keepers didn't turn on the Citadel when they were supposed to. So he had to come into the galaxy to figure out what the hell was wrong.
Yeah, don't you fight Saren though on the Citadel?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, eventually Saren goes there and activates it.
Oh, that's why.
He tries to activate it.
He
closes the Citadel arms so that Sovereign can get there and manually start it. Basically,
that's what it was.
As funny as this sounds, like as terrifying as Sovereign is, he's basically a glorified repairman. He's literally the Reaper's IT guy.
Sick, dude. That's awesome.
He was sent on site to figure out what's wrong with the computer. Do I need to turn it off and on again?
So yeah, instead of being able to activate the thing automatically, they had to go in and manually try to switch it on to do it.
Because the Protheans went in and they diddled the bugs and made it so they would ignore the Reapers. So we'll get to the Reapers. They're sentient, massive machines. And they have some really cool powers, right?
Okay.
On top of having the single best tech in the galaxy. And there's a reason for this. We'll get to this in a moment. They were created basically at the dawn of time.
Cool.
By the first FTL-capable civilization that we know as the Leviathans.
Whoa.
More spoiler alert for the Leviathan DLC.
Who gives a shit?
Specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't played it and you think you might want to, I would say walk away now because the Leviathan DLC is great the first time.
I'll see you later then. I'm getting out of here.
You don't want to play it.
Absolutely I don't.
But if you did, I would say walk away now just because the Leviathan DLC is really cool the first time through.
Throw your phone out the window, crash your car so the radio stops working.
But Yeah, no. So they were made by the Leviathans.
Mm-hmm.
The original Reapers, well, technically speaking, we'll get to it. The Leviathans were a species capable of mind control, and they forced simpler species to worship them as gods and pay tribute.
Mm.
Yeah, great bunch of guys right there.
Yeah, perfect.
Unfortunately, every time the subservient species evolved enough,
yep,
they kept developing artificial AI, artificial intelligence, and it would wipe them out.
Okay.
And you can't get tribute from a dead species.
No, really?
Quick little fun fact and note: the Geth are apparently the only ones in the entirety of galactic history who didn't necessarily want to wipe out their creators. Every other cycle that has come up, a species builds AI and they just immediately turn on their creators.
Yeah. No, yeah, the Geth didn't want to.
Yeah. They actually stopped and were like, They just defended themselves is what it was.
Literally.
Yeah. So anyway, Leviathans, you can't get tribute from a dead species, so they decided, hey, we're gonna make our own AI to solve the problem. Because we're above the mistakes of the lesser creatures.
Yeah. Because making an AI is Yep.
So the goal was to find a way for organics to coexist, or at least not get wiped out by their creations.
Wow.
Okay. The method that the AI came up with, for the record, it was subtle. It was a slow thing. It started off by just studying these civilizations.
Yeah.
Then it created small machines to kind of go and, actually enact experiments and stuff.
Okay.
And then eventually it came up with the method to destroy their creators and turn it into the first Reaper.
Sick, dude. That's awesome.
I.e., the first harvest. Where it took the machines it created to perform those experiments and manage the galaxy as best it could.
Yeah.
And it just killed them.
Nice.
In creating the first Reaper in this way, they actually also incorporated their mind control ability, which is how indoctrination happens.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle thing. It's actually, indoctrination is technically better than the Leviathan mind control, because Leviathan mind control can destroy whoever's brain they're controlling.
Right.
When you meet them in Mass Effect 3 in the DLC, Shepard starts hemorrhaging. Blood out of his or her nose or whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, they created the mass relays for the specific purpose of forcibly accelerating organic technology down their chosen path.
Okay.
So basically, we're going to build these giant relay systems, these giant teleport systems that all point to the Citadel so that you can learn my technology the way I want you to learn it.
Oh, okay.
You are going to learn it. It's specifically designed, how we activated the mass relays?
Yep.
It's actually specifically designed to turn off and eventually be turned on again. And in learning to turn it on, you learn about, the biotics and the gravitational control. You learn, I think that's actually called the Mass Effect, is that gravitational thing. Yeah.
The word.
Yeah.
The word.
They only mention that literally in that first opening cutscene where they have the history of man or whatever. We discovered this giant thing and whatever. And it's that discovery of gravity control was called the Mass Effect.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's the only time they ever mention it.
Get a better name.
Only time they ever mention it. Hang on. I dropped something. There you go.
You dropped it.
So anyway, they built these relays specifically to be turned on by being studied, basically.
Yes.
So you learn their technology, incorporate it into your own, and it supercharges your tech. Because by the time you get to your mass relay, you will be at a third of this tech level. And this will bump you up a bit.
Oh, gotcha.
It'll accelerate your technological evolution, is what it is. Yep. But it will do so in a way that the Reapers
want you.
Yeah, exactly. So they can track and make sure you're progressing the way they want it.
Yeah, you're progressing, but on the path that they want you to go.
And every 50,000 years, they come back to check on the galaxy from dark space.
Oh, good.
If organics have successfully managed to not get killed by their AIs and have managed to make peace with their AIs, then congratulations. The Reapers will actually disseminate all their information, because every time they harvest a species, they use that species to make a core for a new Reaper.
Oh, cool.
And they will actually, if you're successful, they'll actually say, hey, we preserved all the information of this species that came before you, and we would like to share it with you because you successfully completed the mission.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was.
Damn.
But if they have failed, if they are fighting AI, if they have fought AI, if they've, been killed or have slaughtered them, because actually the Protheans, they slaughtered their AI in their cycle. Well, to be fair, like, their AI was actually, like, really fucked up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were kind of like the Borg from Star Trek, so they were all cyborgs.
Yes. And
they kind of just assimilated things, but they also, like Javik doesn't go into details, but he says, dear God, what they did to their children was fucked up. And this is Javik, the guy who is driven by nothing but war, combat, and rage.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no, that shit was messed up. This is a man who would commit war crimes without blinking.
Jesus.
But anyway, so if you succeeded, hey, have all this really cool information, even more tech than you can possibly imagine, the history of the stars that you never knew existed.
Hell yeah.
If they fail, they wipe out all FTL-capable civilizations and leave the rest to start over.
Hell yeah.
And they start the experiment over again.
They start the cycle over.
Yeah. And the methods they use to wipe everyone out? First, indoctrination.
Yep.
Very subtle mind control. It's not direct. It actually is something that happens over time, and it gets more severe over time. Reapers can accelerate it, but in doing so, the more indoctrinated you are, the less useful you are to the Reapers, basically.
Oh, okay.
And they use this to set up, and again, it always starts off like one of the things that they do is like, well, the Reapers destroyed the galaxy. Supposedly they destroyed all organics and just destroyed everything, and yet organics are still here. So they must not destroy everyone. So maybe they won't destroy me if I help them. And that's kind of it's even more like
that's the shitty way of thinking about it. Yeah.
There's actually even the list of like train of thought is longer than that.
Yeah.
But you eventually reach the conclusion that the Reapers are the good guys and you should help them. Yep. Kind of messed up, actually.
Whatever.
And so the Reapers use this mind control, this indoctrination, to create cultists that worship them, traitors amongst their empire, and sedition. In fact, it's actually widely accepted that the Elusive Man is indoctrinated, and that's why he doesn't team up with Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
He takes Cerberus and actively fights everyone else.
Nice.
And that happened in the Protheans too. He's like, yeah, no, we had these guys that for whatever reason they didn't want to fight the Reapers, and instead fought everyone else, and the Reapers just ignored them. That's actually the thing. Anytime a Cerberus outpost is kind of active, the Reapers just kind of ignore that planet.
Oh, okay.
Until the Cerberus is done doing what they're doing. Yeah. And then they also use it to make sleeper agents, individuals that frankly they don't even know they're indoctrinated until the Reapers are there, and then it's like a subliminal message to, oh, I should start blowing everything up, you know what, we don't need these defense cannons online. That's ridiculous. Why would we want that?
Right.
So yeah, that's indoctrination's actually really sinister, really subtle. You can't even notice it most of the time. Unless they've actively really ramped it up.
There's no such thing as indoctrination.
Yeah.
This is a fantasy.
Actually, again, that would be one of those things that would be propaganda from an indoctrinated planet or news station where it's we're not indoctrinated, we're helping. It's
we're helping
totally.
People. What do you mean?
The other thing that Reapers do is conversion, which is they implant Reaper tech into captured populations or corpses of captured populations.
Okay.
Usually doing it while they're alive.
Yeah.
And turning them into monstrous shock troopers. These are the husks. These are the Ravagers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Marauders.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Collectors. Those are actually Prothean versions of husks.
Yeah.
Very messed up. Very terrifying. Because, again, you're basically looking at the corpse of someone that's now going to come and attack you. There's very much a zombie thing going on.
Right.
I think, I could be wrong. I think it was either a written log that I read in one of the games, or it was a video thing. But basically, someone recognizes a husk as like their little brother or whatever, and then gets killed by them.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
dude,
it's very much zombie apocalypse, but it's like
sick.
it's techno zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's dope.
And then of course the third method that they use to perform the harvest is just superior and indiscriminate firepower.
Yep,
their tech is beyond anything that we have because that's how they made sure we evolved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, most primitive civilizations, when they get to the mass relay and like are able to activate it, have like a third of the mass relay's tech.
Yeah.
They get a nice little boost for another third, but there's still like a third they don't know.
Right.
The Reapers have like 6 times that amount.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's insane. And what Reapers do with the harvest, they capture massive quantities of the like designated primary species and then some secondary species, and they just literally melt them down into raw like slurry to make the core of a new Reaper.
Nice.
out of the biochemical mush. Yeah. And then around that they build like an actual Reaper.
Yeah.
Or the various sized Reapers and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
And basically the size of Reaper that you get, kind of, as far as the Reapers are concerned, was how important you were for that cycle. Like, the Protheans got a pretty damn big Reaper. They got the full thing.
Yeah.
But then you also have, like, some of their subservient species that have, like, the smaller Reaper ships and whatnot. They're like, alright, these aren't too important, but they are kind of neat to be there. Yeah. And they always start with the Citadel. Except for Mass Effect Cycle, because that was shut down.
Yes.
Where, again, all the mass relays point to the Citadel. So it's kind of a natural place. It's basically the center of the mass relay network.
Yeah.
And it's a natural place for any kind of governance to kind of exist, right? Because from there, you can go everywhere. Whereas everywhere else, like, just kind of eventually, like, will loop back around to that point. And so, unfortunately, they start with that. Meaning, when the Citadel, when the harvest starts, the Keepers typically close the Citadel arms. It activates the giant pulsar or whatever.
Yeah.
All the Reapers come in and then just immediately kill or indoctrinate all the highest level rulers, politicians, everyone that is anyone is now either dead or under Reaper control. And in fact, that's usually, and Javik mentioned it, is like, yeah, no, some of our greatest minds and scientists and stuff that were on the Citadel, we brought them in to help us fight the Reapers, and it turns out they were indoctrinated all the time. Yep, the whole time.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
But whenever they're completed, whenever they finally harvested all the FTL civilizations, the Reapers leave behind select remains. Like, they don't leave behind everything. They leave everything in ruins, but they make sure they're intact enough. They will eventually be found.
Okay.
So that the next cycle can base their technology off of the previous cycle, which is based off of the Reapers.
Gotcha.
Yep. And again, it starts the cycle over. Every 50,000 years they do this, like clockwork. Until they find the answer of, again, ironically, why, how to make it so that AI don't kill organics. Oh, funny enough, that is their goal.
So technically, Reapers aren't the bad guys.
Yeah, well, totally.
I mean, they're trying to figure out the ultimate answer of, can, like, make organics to make AI that won't murder their creators.
Yep. So that's
nutty, man.
Yeah. I think that's a bit of a longer episode, but that is the story of the Asari, the Reapers, and the Protheans as well.
Wicked, dude.
And keep in mind, the Protheans were also based on, like, the previous civilization.
Yeah.
What they call it, the Inusari, I think they were called.
Fuck of a...
Again, Javik mentions it at some point in Mass Effect 3 if you talk to him enough. He's like, yeah, no, the Reapers are very cunning. We based our technology, you based your technology on us, we based our technology on them, but it turns out it was all the Reapers the entire time.
Yeah. And it's always the Reapers.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Sick, man. That's crazy.
I believe this is, episode 7, I think?
Shit. 8, 9, then 10 is mine. Yep.
So that was episode 7. 7 episodes. We have covered pretty much everything in Mass Effect. All the main stuff, at least.
Good.
Good.
That's good, man. We did it.
It's all really interesting. I'm
very excited.
I love the series. It's great. It's great.
That's crazy. Did you know that it's only 46 milligrams of caffeine in Diet Coke?
I think that's less than not Diet Coke.
I wouldn't know. That doesn't have caffeine.
Oh yeah, this is root beer. I thought it was Dr. Pepper from. I'm like, damn, I'm so used to drinking that.
I think Bark's root beer probably had. I don't know. I think maybe there has to be a root beer that has caffeine.
I think most root beer is non-caffeinated. That's actually why I moved to root beer, was because I was trying to cut down the caffeine.
Should do gamer sups, homie. It's good shit.
Isn't that raw caffeine?
Yeah.
I was trying to cut down on caffeine.
You're not doing caffeine.
That's why I went to root beer. So I'm trying to cut down on the addictive caffeine so I can then cut down on the sugar.
I'm cutting down on sugar because I need caffeine to stay alive. But,
anyway,
all right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
And I think that's it for this one.
That'll be it. Have a good one.
I'm going to stop the recording.
Are you?
I have to cut this out, though, too.